across subjects as diverse as medical science, computer gaming and space exploration.
I'm Ghislaine Boddington. I'm a reader in digital immersion at the School of Design at the University of Greenwich, and I also run the creative collective Body Data Space. At the moment, I'm looking at the augmentation of the body, potentially to support us through life, a kind of scenario where we'd have an ally or a companion or a co-worker working with us.
Ghislaine's investigations are part of global research, taking in both the practicalities and ethics of technological advances and thinking about how our potential could be augmented or realised in all manner of our lives through the creation of digital twins, computer-generated versions of ourselves.
The modelling of a digital human, a digital me, that would be there to work with me, to support me in different ways.
So are we thinking like a kind of like a demon in Northern Lights, you know, where you've got a little animal companion who can talk to you about your emotions and various other things? Or are we talking about like a sort of digital slave that we can get to do things like the washing up? What sort of thing are we thinking about here?
The demon example is very good, actually, because we are talking here about something that would be with you all the time. And my concept is based on having a real-time virtual body interface that's with me from birth, grows up with me and learns about the world alongside me, advises and supports across many aspects of life. Could be mental health, could be supporting your work, fitness, etc. And actually collaborates with me on my work, on my social life. So it could be an avatar, it could be robotic or holographic, or all three. There are already many examples of this in different sectors. Digital human twin modelling for the medical sector is well advanced, and in the space sector too. But also we know it more on a day-to-day level. We know it in the fitness sector and obviously in the gaming sector.
So I have a Whoop, you know, one of those things that tells you how you slept and how your heart rate is doing. So I'm imagining some sort of extremely developed version of that that's somehow also maybe listening to my thoughts and following along with what I'm doing day to day. Is that in any way realistic? And how creepy is it?
Well, the listening to your thoughts thing, Kate, is a really great one, because I'm often in the shower going, oh, I should do that, or it'd be great to do that, or I should put that in that document. And of course you're in the shower, so you can't do anything at all. So for me, definitely the ideas and the to-do lists that come up in my head when I'm otherwise occupied and not able to be tapping into my phone would be wonderful if they were translated into those scenarios. However, that one's probably quite a way off. At the moment, it is about the aggregation of data that we do, in the main, already can collect, either through our own apps, like you're saying about sleep apps or fitness apps, or through more advanced apps that are being used by the medical sector and other sectors. I think there's also a sense of understanding now with the AI explosion that's happening into much more mass society of how helpful it would be and how it might make life a little bit less boring if there was an AI working with us to say, this email is urgent, forget this lot. Help with searching for things on your computer. Help with these very basic level tasks that we all spend hours doing, hours and hours, being pretty much robots on our computers, which actually can be done now by AI.
I could basically delegate stuff to it.
Exactly that, and hopefully through that giving us more space and time to have much more original thinking time and solution creating time, which is where I think our brains are not being used to their full potential.
Sounds a bit Brave New World. But should we worry? Would those machines like us outstrip our potential? Well, science has some reassurance.
My name's Sophie Scott and I'm a Professor of Cognitive Neuroscience at University College London. What I think of when I think of potential is human brains. And the reason why I think about human brains is they're kind of like a machine for potential. You've got 86 billion brain cells. They're what you're born with. You're born with almost all the brain cells you're ever going to have. You don't learn and change by growing new bits of your brain. You learn and change by remodeling the connections between those existing brain cells. And this is giving you a sort of a computer of extraordinary power. All computers have got a limit to how much memory they have. There's no known limit to human memory. There's no known limitation on the number of languages a human can learn to speak. The limitation is time. Human brains are unbelievably full of potential. It's also the case that there is substantial evidence for individual differences along lots of different parameters. Thinking about the language example, there's quite good evidence now that some people are really good at hearing differences in speech sounds from other languages, and other people are really good at learning to produce them, and they're not necessarily the same people. They're two different ways in which people vary. But that's only going to be found out if you have that opportunity. It's a case of both, I think, embracing and giving the potential to everybody to find out what their brains can do. And there might be something really particular, very special about your brain. Well, I hope you get the opportunity to find out about it.
Throughout this series, we've considered potential largely in young people, from spotting teenage sports stars or musicians to entering university and getting on the career ladder. But satisfyingly, Sophie says it's not all about them.
You are going to be better at learning a new language when you're a child, partly because you don't have to go out to work for a living and things like that, but also there does seem to be a sort of critical period for really getting good at speaking a new language, for example, at that age. But actually, although there's some individual variation, most people will be able to pick up a new language with time and with desire to do so throughout their whole lives. Your brain is plastic, it's flexible.
So there we have it. Human potential is boundless, not constrained by age, and, despite current concerns, unlikely to be killed off by technology. The search for potential is intertwined with what makes our lives interesting. It makes us curious and leads us to the question, what next? And while it might be an individual trait, it's also something that relies on others, those who give us a chance, see something in us, spot our potential.
How to Spot Potential was presented by Kate Mason. The producer was Julian Siddle. In a few moments here on Radio 4, the shipping forecast. This is BBC Radio 4. Now, the shipping forecast issued by the Met Office on behalf of the Maritime and Coast Guard Agency at 0015 on Saturday, the 27th of June, 2026. The general synopsis at 1800. Low Malin, 1008. Expected Bailey, 993 by 1800 Saturday. New High, expected German Bight, 1016 by same time. The area forecast for the next 24 hours. Viking, north at Sierra, south at Sierra. Variable 2 to 4, becoming southerly 4 or 5, occasionally 6 later. Showers and fog patches, moderate or good, occasionally very poor. 40s, Cromarty 4th. Variable 2 to 4, becoming south 4 or 5, occasionally 6 later. Showers, thundery at first with fog patches, moderate or good, occasionally very poor at first. Tyne, Dogger. Variable 2 to 4, becoming south 4 or 5 later. Showers, thundery and Dogger, good, occasionally poor. Fisher. Variable 2 to 4, showers, thundery later with fog patches, moderate or good, occasionally very poor later. German Bight, Humber, Thames, Dover, White, Portland. Variable 2 to 4, thundery showers, moderate or good, occasionally poor. Plymouth. South, veering southwest 3 to 5, showers, good, occasionally moderate. Biscay. Variable 2 to 4, becoming west 3 to 5 later, thundery showers, good, occasionally moderate. Trafalgar. West 2 to 4, veering northwest 3 to 5, showers, good. Fitzroy, Seoul. South, southwest, veering west later 4 to 6, occasional rain, good, occasionally moderate. Lundy, Fastnet. South, southwest 4 to 6, showers, rain later, good, occasionally moderate. Irish Sea. Southerly 4 to 6, occasionally 7 and west. Showers, rain later, moderate or good, occasionally poor. Shannon. South 4 or 5, veering southwest 5 or 6, rain or showers, good, occasionally poor. Rockall. Cyclonic 4 to 6, becoming southwest 5 to 7 later, rain at times, moderate or good, occasionally poor. Malin, Hebrides. Cyclonic becoming south 4 to 6, rain or showers, thundery at first, moderate or good, occasionally poor. Bailey. Southeast becoming cyclonic 4 to 6, occasional rain, good, occasionally poor. Fair Isle. East veering south 4 to 6, rain or showers, thundery at first with fog patches, moderate or good, occasionally very poor at first. Faroes. East or southeast 4 to 6, rain at times, moderate or good, occasionally poor. And southeast Iceland. Southerly backing easterly 4 to 6, becoming cyclonic 5 to 7 later, perhaps gale 8 later in northwest, occasional rain, moderate or good, occasionally poor. And now the weather reports from coastal stations for 2300. Tyree automatic, southeast 3. Stornoway, northeast 3, recent rain 4 miles 1010, falling. Lerwick, northeast 3, 24 miles 1015, falling slowly. Wick automatic, east-southeast 3, recent fog 3 miles 1014, falling more slowly. Aberdeen, northeast by east 1, slight rain 600 meters 1013, falling slowly. Lucas, east-northeast 3, 4 miles 1013, now rising. Boomer, northeast by north 2, fog 200 meters 1013, rising more slowly. Bridlington, west-northwest 2, 1013, rising more slowly. Sandetti light vessel automatic, southwest 6, 2 miles 1016. Greenwich light vessel automatic, south-southwest 3, 2 miles 1018. St. Catherine's Point automatic, west-northwest 1, 1018, rising slowly. Jersey, northeast 2, 16 miles 1018, now falling. Channel light vessel automatic, south by west 2, 1019. Scilly automatic, south 4, mist 4 miles 1016, now falling. Milford Haven, south by west 3, 8 miles 1016, steady. Aberporth, south by west 4, 27 miles 1016, rising slowly. Valley, south-southwest 5, 9 miles 1015, rising slowly. Liverpool Crosby, west 3, 14 miles, 1,015, rising more slowly. Valencia, south by east 3, 22 miles, 1,010, now falling. Ronald's Way, south 5, mist, 5 miles, 1,013, rising slowly. Malin Head, east by south 2, 7 miles, 1,007, falling. And Machrihanish Automatic, east-southeast 4, recent drizzle, 5 miles, 1,010, rising slowly. And here's the weather forecast for the inshore waters of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, valid for the following 24 hours, issued by the Met Office at 2300. The general situation: a strengthening southwesterly flow will affect northern and western waters on Saturday, while a slack and humid flow continues to affect waters elsewhere. During Sunday, a change to a westerly flow will spread fresher conditions eastwards across all parts. Cape Wrath to Rattray Head, including Orkney, east 3 to 5, occasionally 6 near Cape Wrath, veering south, occasionally 6 near Rattray Head, then becoming variable 2 to 4 later. Rain or showers, perhaps thundery at first, with fog patches, moderate or good, occasionally very poor at first. Rattray Head to Berwick upon Tweed, variable 2 to 4, becoming south 4 to 6, fog patches and drizzle at first, then showers, moderate or poor, occasionally very poor, becoming good. Berwick upon Tweed to Whitby, variable 2 to 4, becoming southeast 3 to 5, then veering south or southwest 2 to 4 later. Drizzle at first, then showers, moderate or poor, becoming good. Whitby to Gibraltar Point, variable 1 to 3, but Gibraltar Point to North Foreland, variable becoming southerly or southeasterly later, 2 to 4, thundery showers, moderate or good, occasionally poor. North Foreland to Selsey Bill, westerly 2 to 4, becoming variable 1 to 3, occasionally 4 later, thundery showers, moderate or good, occasionally poor. Selsey Bill to Lyme Regis, west 2 to 4, becoming variable 1 to 3, then southwest 2 to 4 later, showers, thundery in east, fair later, moderate or good, occasionally poor in east. Lyme Regis to Land's End, including the Isles of Scilly, variable 2 to 4, becoming south or southwest 3 to 5, showers later, good, occasionally moderate. Land's End to St. David's Head, including the Bristol Channel, variable 2 to 4, becoming south or southwest 3 to 5, occasionally 6 near Pembrokeshire, showers later, good, occasionally moderate in west. St. David's Head to Great Orme Head, including St. George's Channel, south 3 to 5, veering southwest 4 to 6, showers, rain later, moderate or good. Great Orme Head to the Mull of Galloway, variable 2 to 4 at first in Liverpool Bay, otherwise southerly or southwesterly 4 or 5, occasionally 6 and north, showers, rain later, moderate or good, occasionally poor at first in north. Isle of Man, southerly or southwesterly 4 to 6, occasionally 7 later in west, fog patches at first, rain later, moderate or good, occasionally very poor at first. Loch Foyle to Carlingford Loch, southerly or southeasterly 4 to 6, occasionally 7 in east, showers, rain later, good, occasionally poor. Mull of Galloway to Mull of Kintyre, including the Firth of Clyde and North Channel, southerly or southeasterly 4 to 6, occasionally 7 in North Channel, showers, rain later, good, occasionally poor. Mull of Kintyre to Ardnamurchan Point, south or southeast 4 to 6, showers, rain later, moderate or good, occasionally poor later. Ardnamurchan Point to Cape Wrath, east or southeast 3 to 5, occasionally 6 near Cape Wrath, veering south or southwest 4 to 6. Rain or showers, thundery at first, moderate or good, occasionally poor. And Shetland Isles, east 3 or 4, veering south or southeast 4 or 5, occasional rain and fog patches, showers later, moderate or good, occasionally very poor. And that completes the shipping forecast. Well, before we leave you tonight, I just wanted to take a moment to mark the end of an era For almost a century, the long-wave transmitters have carried the BBC across the airwaves, from the iconic Droitwich transmitting station in Worcestershire to Westerglen and Birkhead in Scotland. Although the long-wave signal is fading into history this morning, the memories and the connection it created will endure forever. We shall miss your warmth and crackle. Well, that's it from me, Al Ryan, and all of us here at Broadcasting House. If you have been, thanks for listening. Have a safe, quiet and peaceful night. Good night. Ihawa.
You are listening to 198 kHz longwave. BBC Radio 4 is no longer available on this frequency. However, you can find Radio 4 many other ways. You can find BBC Radio 4 online via BBC Sounds. Radio 4 is available on DAB digital radio and through your digital television, including Freely. Radio 4 is also available via FM radio on 92 to 95 MHz and 103 to 105 MHz. Plus, you can listen via your smart speaker. Just say, play Radio 4. Information on how to listen can be found on the BBC website at bbc.co.uk/reception. You are listening to 198 kHz longwave. BBC Radio 4 is no longer available on this frequency. However, you can find Radio 4 many other ways. You can find BBC Radio 4 online via BBC Sounds. Radio 4 is available on DAB digital radio and through your digital television, including Freely. Radio 4 is also available via FM radio on 92 to 95 MHz and 103 to 105 MHz. Plus, you can listen via your smart speaker. Just say, play Radio 4. Information on how to listen can be found on the BBC website at bbc.co.uk/reception. You are listening to 198 kHz longwave. BBC Radio 4 is no longer available on this frequency. However, you can find Radio 4 many other ways. You can find BBC Radio 4 online via BBC Sounds. Radio 4 is available on DAB digital radio and through your digital television, including Freely. Radio 4 is also available via FM radio on 92 to 95 MHz and 103 to 105 MHz. Plus, you can listen via your smart speaker. Just say, play Radio 4. Information on how to listen can be found on the BBC website at bbc.co.uk/reception. You are listening to 198 kHz longwave. BBC Radio 4 is no longer available on this frequency. However, you can find Radio 4 many other ways. You can find BBC Radio 4 online via BBC Sounds. Radio 4 is available on DAB digital radio and through your digital television, including Freely. Radio 4 is also available via FM radio on 92 to 95 MHz and 103 to 105 MHz. Plus, you can listen via your smart speaker. Just say, play Radio 4. Information on how to listen can be found on the BBC website at bbc.co.uk/reception. You are listening to 198 kHz longwave. BBC Radio 4 is no longer available on this frequency. However, you can find Radio 4 many other ways. You can find BBC Radio 4 online via BBC Sounds. Radio 4 is available on DAB digital radio and through your digital television, including Freely. Radio 4 is also available via FM radio on 92 to 95 MHz and 103 to 105 MHz. Plus, you can listen via your smart speaker. Just say, play Radio 4. Information on how to listen can be found on the BBC website at bbc.co.uk/reception. You are listening to 198 kHz longwave. BBC Radio 4 is no longer available on this frequency. However, you can find Radio 4 many other ways. You can find BBC Radio 4 online via BBC Sounds. Radio 4 is available on DAB digital radio and through your digital television, including Freely. Radio 4 is also available via FM radio on 92 to 95 MHz and 103 to 105 MHz. Plus, you can listen via your smart speaker. Just say, play Radio 4. Information on how to listen can be found on the BBC website at bbc.co.uk/reception.